So let's talk about your past first. So in the past position, we do have the Fool, and this is the recent past, okay? The Fool is basically about starting a new phase in your life, feeling optimistic, not carrying the past emotional burden and baggage with you. And I feel like fire signs are the best to bounce back after, are the ones that are very successful at bouncing back after a bad relationship. So, once you're done, you're done. And I feel like, you have this happy go lucky energy where you can very quickly bounce back. And, you have a really strong magnetic pull that allows other people to approach you. You're approachable, you're easy to talk to. And I feel like you have a very generous spirit that allows people to feel very, very comfortable around you. And I feel like, the whatever issues you have, like internally, you never let it like show up externally when you deal with new people. So I feel like, you have this childlike innocent, this sense of trust and adventure about you where you don't let your past relationships taint your current situation. So, which is a great energy to bring to the table. So I feel like a lot of you have recently broken up and you have healed up, and now you're going through this phase where you are trying your luck at dating again. So you're putting yourself out there, you're open and receptive to new love, okay? I feel like what happened in the past was that you were in a situation where there were a lot of responsibilities. So you could be in a partnership where, there are a lot of children and there are a lot of responsibilities, household responsibilities. So not only were you working, I feel like a lot of, I'm getting a very strong, Leo female vibes here. A lot of you are not only just working, you're maintaining, the family budget. You're trying to keep everything afloat. So you're a professional career person. And then at home, you're kind of like the super mom or the super dad. So you're trying to maintain everything. And you're doing so without, any complaint because you feel like your children, your family unit are, you take pride and joy in domesticating, and you also take pride and joy to do your job and do it well. So I feel like there were a lot of responsibilities that were kind of thrown upon you because people were just taking you for granted and they might not know that there's a limit. So I feel like you gladly took on all these responsibilities because you did it out of love. And I feel like over time, it really wore you down and it really corroded your sense of, I would say like, your sense of balance. So I feel like that was the main thing. And because it was like this, I feel that, a serious compromise had to be reached or a serious ultimatum had to be drawn so that both partners can contribute equally. So a lot of you might have like be still dealing with this, or a lot of you might have just broken yourself free and moved on. Okay. So the Eight of Swords here is a situation where we were very stuck because of external conditions. And I feel like you were stuck. You didn't know where to go. You didn't know how you were going to fare. But a lot of you were just like, no, I'm going to take my chances because I feel like the universe can protect me. So all three cards combined indicates to me, dropping a heavy load of a burden, moving on forward. And so it's kind of like picking up the pieces of your life, moving on, mainly because you knew it wasn't working. So a lot of you are starting out this month, possibly in the single state, okay? Which brings us to the present moment. We have the World, the Page of Wands, and the Two of Swords. So the World is a situation where your social networks, your opportunities when it comes to enjoyment, love, friendships, and relationships, all of these things are opening up for you. And basically it's saying that opportunity is there. External to you is the World, which means opportunities are in abundance. However, I feel like you might have a lot of responsibilities, so you have a habit of cocooning yourself and not really going out there and reaping all these benefits just yet. A lot of you are still selective about who you engage with. So I feel like there is here this energy with the Page of Wands, which means a lot of communication, a lot of flirtation, a lot of new text messages, and people showing their interest. But I feel like their interest is more on a physical level. It's not that they're only soliciting you for, a physical connection. I don't feel that. I feel like that's what it starts out as. And it's like fun, friendly flirtation. And it can blossom into more. But I feel at this point, you're still keeping yourself a little bit kind of guarded. I feel like it's because of this past energy. And as a result of it, you might have a lot of responsibilities as well. So you're very selective. You're picking and choosing who you want to engage with in conversation, who you want to go on dates with, and who you're letting into your inner circle. Okay. So if you're dealing with a fire sign specifically, another fire sign, so another Leo, a Sagittarius, or an Aries, there is some sense here where you're not really sure about this person's intentions, and you're not really sure if they have what it takes to go the distance with you, if they have a great sense of responsibility, if they're reliable, if they're dependable, if what they say is who they are, if they're telling you the truth. So I feel like you have somebody that is, crushing on you, that is like really, really in hot pursuit of you. So another fire sign, and you're not really sure which direction to go with that just yet. Okay. And let's talk about your crowning energy. The crowning energy is something that you're thinking about. We have the Eight of Wands, which is basically fast, swift, decisive communication where people are like sure about what they want, how they want to proceed, and what they want to do. We also have here the Nine of Wands. So the Eight of Wands, and then the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands indicates a person that has been like through the ringer. They have had a lot of, I would say trauma in their past. And they have been through a series of unhealthy relationships. They've grown from it. They have extracted important lessons from it. They still believe in love, so they're not bitter and jaded. They're still a very, very optimistic and happy-go-lucky type of a person. This is a card of Leo. It's not the strength card, but whenever I see this card, it's a very Leo type of card where I feel like no matter what, you're still very optimistic. You're giving people a chance. You're communicating and interacting with a lot of people. And I feel like no matter what you've been through in the past, it hasn't made you jaded. You still approach relationships in a very fair, in a very balanced manner. And as a result of it, I feel that, you're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. Okay. And once again, you are extending your energy outward. So make sure the people are worth it. This card indicates to me very, very strong intuition, and you should listen to it. There's a tree here, and every time I see that, I think about somebody who has a lot of wisdom. When someone has a lot of wisdom, they either have very, very heightened intuition, or they're so sympathetic to the point where, they see the best in everybody. And on the other hand, you're looking for love. So I feel like the only danger that I'm feeling for you guys is you're looking for love and you want to heal other people. And I feel like, you see the best in everybody already. So it might not be the best combination. So discernment and being a little bit more selective is going to be required of you. Yes, you want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and that's fine. But if your intuition is telling you certain things, you need to heed your intuition, because I feel like you have a tendency to see only the good in people. So that means you let a lot of things slide, and that's not great when all these, red flags are coming up on the first, second, third dates to warn you about a specific person. I hope that makes sense. So just be careful about that, okay? We have here the Six of Pentacles. This is a card about generosity. It's about giving out to others, and it's about, matching people halfway as well. So I feel that you should be more discerning overall, Leos. I feel that, especially if you're single and you have like a lot of options, and I don't feel you guys are short on options. So just be a little bit more discerning, okay? So the foundation is a situation on which things are built. So first of all, I see, overall one female, two males. And this can play out as like, having several options, or even caught between the past and the present, or even like, a man caught between two women. So it can play out in many, many ways. So I feel like for a lot of you, you had trouble letting go of a specific person. So I would say like, that you're encountering two people. We have two kings here, which is quite interesting. And they can be male or female. We have the King of Swords, somebody who's very, very slick, very intelligent, not like the most emotional person, but they're very witty. They're a joy to talk to. They can like, they have a great sense of humor, and they can lift you from a state of depression to, high heights. So I feel like this is somebody who knows what to say. And I feel like generally they are very trustworthy. And then you have this other person who's handsome, who's very, much looking for love and looking for solid relationships. And they want, to find their equal counterpart so then they can have a life together, build a house, build a family and things like that. So I feel like at this point, you're just like, what do I really want? Do I want like, just fun, innocent fun and no obligations? Or do I really want a serious relationship? And I feel like you might encounter an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. Somebody who is kind of like playing the field. They're fun and you're attracted to them, but they're not giving you a commitment. And then on the other hand, some of you might be dealing with this person, the King of Pentacles, who is very stable, who's very, very generous, who is like showering a lot of trinkets, a lot of gifts and affections on you. And they want a solid relationship. A lot of you have just been out of a relationship. You're now looking for a little bit more fun, more lighthearted energy. So you might not be prepared for this just yet. And I feel this person is genuine. However, with the air sign, I feel like they are not ready just yet, okay? So what's coming into the present situation here? We have the Ace of Swords, which is a decision that is like coming into the picture. You are going to be making a decision, or if you're not the one making a decision is going to be made for you regarding, these two people. And I feel like on the one hand, be careful with the air sign. We have here the Seven of Swords, which is sneaky behavior, finding something out, finding some truth about, somebody's true motives and true intentions. And I feel like it's not going to hurt you. I don't feel you feeling bad, mainly because, like I said, your intuition was telling you all along that, something's off. And I feel like you did some digging, you did some investigating here with the Ace of Swords, asking questions. Digging up information on people via social media, for example. And I feel that you are coming across some information that really knocked it out of the park. So you know where you stand. And we also have the Magician here. The Magician deals with like the veneer, like the face, the mask that somebody wears, and they try to come through in they represent themselves in a very false manner. So I feel like if you are deciding, there's going to be some truth, some information, some revelations that are that are coming to light this month, and it will let you decide which choice to go with. Okay, so I feel like you want to be a little bit careful with the air sign, and I feel like they're telling you that they're not looking for a relationship. And if you're dealing with somebody like that, an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, they are not really looking for a relationship. They're very, very good at talking. They have a great sense of like salesmanship, and they put on a good, they make a persuasive argument, and I feel like you're emotionally very invested in this person as well. So it's not going to be easy for you to just, cleanly cut ties, but I do feel you're going to have to, because this person is not after the same things that you are after. And there is some element here of manipulation about that. Okay. So the foundation here looks very good. And I feel like you should aim for the other sign that is a little bit more stable for you. Okay. So we have an earth sign coming through. So for singles, there are plenty of opportunities to meet and just have fun, or to form solid relationships. I don't feel you're ready, some of you, for solid relationships just yet. And then for those of you who are coupled up, either with an air sign or an earth sign, I do feel the earth sign is they're the ones that are, reciprocating more. If you're dealing with other signs, I feel like there needs to be discussions about, responsibilities and expectations between partners. Okay. But overall, it is very positive. I do feel, house moves and things like that for those of you who are coupled up. I do feel as well moving in together, and it's not really like taking the relationship to the next level, but you might move in together for practical reasons. And I'm also feeling, like social outings and things like that coming through, and a lot of reciprocity, give and take and things like that within your family unit. Okay. So a little bit of a trouble spot here, just, with the air sign energy, but that can be worked out. Okay.